live in stereo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another RawCast. I'm joined today with True Blue. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just usual intro from me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Hope you're all well. And yeah, I'm good. Ready for another RawCast.
Oh man. We got a fair amount to cover this week. Nothing too spectacular. If you guys haven't seen, I usually cover free games and stuff first thing when we get started on here. The only freebies that are out right now, you can grab Disney's Cars from Amazon Prime or oh my God, Dishonored. Grab Dishonored. If you don't already have 5 free copies of that, you can have another one. Other than that, no crazy freebies. Yeah.
When
Blue.
was Dishonored? Yeah, when was Dishonored? When did that release? Because that's an old game, isn't it? That's a really, really old game. I've got it in my Steam
Yeah.
library. We're just chatting off stream about it there and now. But when was that released? I'm gonna have a look at that, unless you can tell me.
I can look real quick myself. That was released. Dishonored. Wow, all the way back in 2012.
2012. Wow.
I mean, it's overwhelmingly positive. It is a fantastic game, but it's been given away for free so many times at this point.
It feels like a Bethesda, this, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Recycle. Don't get me wrong, like you said, good game and stuff, but it'd be nice to see a new game, I suppose, a new Dishonored game.
Well, you said that's funny you said Bethesda because they're the ones that actually published it. So,
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh yeah, it is actually Bethesda. Christ,
hey,
I'm looking
good to
at it
see you,
now.
Mr. Sentinel 99. Good morning to you. Thanks for hopping in here with us. So, I guess getting started with the news. Oh no, excuse me. I apologize. I'm out of it this morning. Blue, it's been a week. You were down sick, not really playing much. What have you been playing this past week since recovering?
So yeah, I'm fully recovered now, thank God. My throat infection's gone. I can actually speak properly, and
Hallelujah.
yeah, and I've been playing a game called Stranded Alien Dawn. I think I mentioned it in the previous podcast, but it's a strategy game, it's like RTS sort of thing, where you crash land on a planet. Before that, you can select a few options and stuff like that to see what kind of planet you want to land on. It's like a planet, a desert planet, or a planet that's lush with forests and stuff like that, all that sort of thing. And you can pick your survivors, the people. I think you start off with 4, so you start off with like 4 survivors, and they've all got different skills and stuff like that. Like some are good at combat, some good at construction, some good at various other different skills. But I've been having a blast doing that, and it's like really addictive. Just like starting from scratch. You've got your the ship that's crashed, and you salvage everything that you can off that, getting med packs and like laser pistols and things like that, and then eventually like you start salvaging stuff from other like spacecraft that are crashed on the planet, getting salvage from those, and obviously taking advantage of the flora and fauna that's, let's say, kicking about the planet, and you build your base. And yeah, I've been playing that, and it's like one of those ones that you're sitting playing, and you look at the time, and then you're like, right, wow, I've been playing this for like 5 hours, really
Right.
addictive. But I recommend that. It was I got it on a Steam sale actually a couple of weeks ago. I think I got it for about $13 or something like that. It's something that I had on my wish list for a while, but yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I don't know if that's if anybody in the chat is heard of it or actually played it, or I don't know if it's quite relatable to this channel, but it's like one of those games that you can sit back and chill and just play, and yeah, essentially just relax, and it's quite therapeutic. So yeah, been playing that. It's been decent, but nothing else. I've had my eye on Black Ops 6, not in the intent to buy it, but I've been just watching its release and how it's going. And I think I mentioned to you off stream, it was kind of like it's kind of samey, isn't it? Black Ops 6, it's
Yeah.
kind of same all the time. I watched the multiplayer I seen it as like it's the same old stuff, isn't it? It's like grind your guns up and get headshots and get camos and all that kind of stuff. Prepare for the new Warzone, I guess, which apparently like Verdansk has come back for that as well. So any of the COD fans out there probably be like licking their lips to Verdansk, but for me, I've had a kind of had it with COD. I just think it's run its race a little bit, and it needs something new because it seems a bit of rehash and recycle. What do you think, Raw?
No, I agree, man. I gave up buying Call of Duty like years ago. Play more Frost. It was hilarious. Yeah, I got you, Cindy. We're actually gonna be playing Frost after today's RawCast. We will be getting back to that. Um, as far as Call of Duty goes, like I gave up buying Call of Duty all the way back. Advanced Warfare was the last one that I bought because
Uh-huh.
back then I was getting tired of like the movement mechanics and the repeat everything was just being repeated, but the movement and stuff was becoming more and more obnoxious, and it was turning into
Yeah.
like a kind of a mix between Call of Duty and Titanfall. I don't know if you are familiar with Titanfall. Great game if you're into that like fast movement mechanics, first person shooter style gunplay.
I'm aware of it. I seen it, but I didn't fancy it because it was like essentially kind of mechs, like jumping around everywhere. Is that right? Titanfall.
Well, the mechs don't really jump around everywhere. You as a character are extremely fast, like when you're out of your mech, and then you
All right.
really slow down. They got the balancing right in Titanfall with that. Like you're a giant walking tank more or less. I mean you get like little speed boosts and stuff where you got like jetpack that kind of launches you forward in certain mechs, and yeah, yeah, it could be fun. But
I'm
Call of
more
Duty was. Go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was just saying I'm more like when it comes to first person shooters, I kind of like the modern setting, the modern environment.
Yeah,
Not too crazy. None of this like jetpacks and mechs and all that sort of stuff.
right.
I know you can you have a small element of it in some of the later like Modern Warfare, even Battlefield games as well. But yeah, I just prefer the sort of grittier, immersive, like fighting, like the Desert Wars in Modern Warfare Combat, i.e. Battlefield, especially 3 and 4. I've seen actually something that I didn't touch on off stream, by the way, but I saw someone. It's not an official site, but I think modders are going to be doing a little remaster of Battlefield 4. What do you make of that? It's
Oh, I
called
haven't seen that.
yeah, it's called. I saw a video on it. I'm going to try and find it, but it's called the Warsaw something. So I'm assuming it's Polish developers. But Battlefield 4. I'm just going to have a quick look just to talk about that. Battlefield 4 remaster. I'm just going to have a quick look because yeah, Warsaw revamped. It's called. So it's essentially It's not like a massive standalone or anything like that, but it's just been remastered, and apparently they're just adjusting things like movement and just adding stuff to the UI and things like that. I said like what I just said, basically a remaster of the game, but that'd be really interesting because, in my opinion, that game was probably the best Battlefield 4, arguably maybe
Oh
3,
yeah.
but those two were the big ones for me. Like especially like what I just talked about, the modern setting, modern warfare and all that sort of stuff. That's the stuff I like. I mean, I love jumping into like the accessibility in that game where if you wanted to play like any sort of infantry or sniper or anti-tank or that, but then the vehicles as well, innit? The vehicles were great for me or friends, especially like the
Right.
attack helicopters and playing the LEV and tank. I love the tank. I love the M1 Abrams tank. Like
I
my
still have
mate,
Battlefield 4 installed right now. I hop on and play it from time to time myself. Like that's kind of my, as you were saying at the beginning, turn your mind off, just hop in and play something. It's
yeah,
my
man,
kind
it
of
was
like,
great.
yeah, release as well. Patty,
But
good
it
to
was
see you
good.
this morning. Talking about Cold War, gave up on the series. They're still talking about Call of Duty in the chat. I'm gonna intervene just real quick, bro.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Call of Duty, I gave up on it after Advanced Warfare. I went and actually bought Modern Warfare 2 when that released because my friend Hatchet Man, that you've seen me and him play zombies a couple times at this point. We we met each other, God, like almost 15 years ago at this point on Call of Duty. And I was there since the beginning, like I played and loved Call of Duty Finest Hour, Call of Duty Big Red 1, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 3, all the way up to Advanced Warfare. And like the last couple games before Advanced Warfare, it started kind of going off of what I enjoyed. Like you were just talking about, Blue, just kind of normal boots on the ground, modern environment. Of course, the old Call of Duties were like set in the history, like World War II era mostly.
Yeah.
Um, and then leading up, but I lost all interest. I did end up purchasing Modern Warfare 2. Like I said, he finally talked me into it after almost like what, like 10 years of not buying a Call of Duty. I was like, screw it, I'll give it a chance again. But it ended up exactly like you were saying, being just more of the same. Like the gunplay did feel a little bit more revised. The time to kill was extremely fast in Modern Warfare 2 compared to some of the stuff I remember playing. The guns felt a bit more lifelike, but it was still just another Call of Duty release, man. You're just grinding up the weapons and trying to rush to get to max prestige, get as high of a level as you can before they release another one next year.
See, that was always a gripe of mine. I would always have arguments with my friends because a lot of them were like, "Oh, I need to get this rank. I need to do this." I
Yeah,
was never into stats. I was never into the stats. So that I was into leveling my guns and stuff like that, to give myself all the best sort of attachments and all that. But when it came to stats, camos, and all that sort of stuff, that didn't interest me. I wanted to jump into particularly Battlefield. Sorry to go from Modern Warfare to Battlefield, but um, it was always about just jumping in and having fun at the end of the
yeah,
day, and playing the objective. That was my main thing, playing the objectives, capturing the flags, the teamwork and stuff like that. That was always the thing for me when I played the Battlefield games, and having like a squad of 4 people, all in the same voice channel or whatever, was
right.
fantastic for me. I loved that. That was peak Battlefield, and you were actually giving each other call outs and like someone was leading the team and things like that. That's the sort of stuff I miss. Particularly like you could have, I don't know, a javelin team on top of a building. Like my friends would, one guy would be sat there as the anti tank, and the
It's
other
a
guy with the
javelin,
ammo.
man. Yeah,
Yeah, the javelin was fun, and like me and my other mate would be in the tank, and I would be or the attack heli, and like we'd be calling out. I'd be spotting stuff like as the gunner of the attack heli, and telling where the targets were and back us up in terms of like javelin support and all that. It was like the teamwork element was great, man. I'm
yeah,
see just talking about it now. I might fancy jumping back in it and reinstalling Battlefield 4 because I miss all those moments where see the COD, even Warzone as well. You just don't get that, and I just think like sorry to have it's not a Battlefield COD versus mode thing here. It's just I just miss that element of teamwork, especially with the Battlefield franchise. It sort of died off from Battlefield 4 because what was after Battlefield 4? It was like Battlefield 1, wasn't it? Where it went World War 1 and then it went Battlefield 5, World War 2. And it just kind of lost that sort of team play element. It just felt it just wasn't the same. It didn't have
right.
that many as many options as Battlefield 3 and 4 in terms of working as a team, and it kind of lost its edge. And then of course 2142 came out, and that was just meh. It's okay state now. I play it now and again, but it's nothing compared to Battlefield 3 and 4 in my opinion.
It's funny that you mentioned Battlefield 2042 because the first real topic that we got to cover, we're gonna kind of carry on this conversation.
Yeah,
Uh, First real topic to cover is right on line with Battlefield 2042, kind of a complete letdown. Um, with Borderlands, man, like I'm a huge fan of Borderlands. Let me preface this conversation with that. I was a huge fan of Borderlands. I was there for the first one when no one knew what it was. Me and my neighbor played it all the time. Borderlands 2, arguably peak of the series. Borderlands 3 refined the gunplay, the movement mechanics, the weapon effects, all that was sensational. The storytelling was trash. And then they followed it up recently with the Borderlands movie, following along Borderlands 3 with a trash story, unlikable characters, terrible casting selection. The Borderlands movie was such a flop. Like they've come out and admitted that multiple times in multiple places. The Borderlands movie was a terrible box office failure. With that, I was about to say Rockstar. Um, Gearbox is actually owned by Take Two. Take Two came out recently and announced that Borderlands 3 actually saw a bit of a resurgence. The series as a whole saw a bit of a resurgence on like the Steam concurrent player base. Uh, Mostly in Borderlands 3 though. It didn't necessarily say that they saw a spike in sales, but there was a resurgence in the player base after the movie. Um, I mean, that's kind of to be expected, I guess. Whenever you have a game turning into a movie turning into a game, TV show, whatever, you're gonna see some little spike with that. They also came out and said Take Two announced that they won't be stacking releases because no one would. As far as stacking Borderlands 4 with Grand Theft Auto 6, they said they're not gonna be stacking that, obviously. Like this, honestly, man, that's not even news. Like, I don't know why they felt they had to come out and say that because anyone that puts anything near Grand Theft Auto 6 is bound to fail.
yeah, 100%.
Uh,
I mean, it's a death wish. That you know that GTA is just going to explode, isn't it? The sales,
yeah,
everybody's going to be playing GTA. It's going to be the most streamed game. It's going to be the most like covered game. It's
yes,
just going to be
yeah.
insane.
I hate that it's not releasing immediately on PC. That is one thing that absolutely kills me. I do not want to buy a copy for my PlayStation 5, have to buy PlayStation Plus membership so I can play online again, and then end up buying the game again for another $60, $70 as soon as it gets released on Steam, like, or, on PC.
Yeah.
Like, good lord. And they're doing that
Eh,
intentionally too. There is a little controversy right there we could talk about. I don't know if you're too familiar with that, but they were basically saying that PC gamers were too cheap. Did you ever see anything about that?
no, I didn't see anything about that. But I did see some. You just reminded me of some controversy of we're not going to go into like the election or anything like that, but I did see
Oh
one of
god.
the no, I'm not going to go there, right? But what I did see is a tweet saying a tweet from 2016 or something like that, and it was a developer from Rockstar saying, "Thank God GTA 6 won't release during the Trump presidential era," and oh well, that worked out well, didn't it?
Right. Uh
So I did see something on Twitter, so yeah, I thought I'd just mention that. I don't know how that'll go down.
I just overlooked my bad, Patty. I didn't mean to overlook your message. Sentinel, get out of here. Patty Patty said, you know what I noticed about 2042? It feels super empty compared to the older games. They went for scale. They went for the more is more, but no, sometimes less is more. Like we've talked about on this channel multiple times. They scaled everything up and had these huge maps with nothing in them. Like there's so many maps that you can die from like multiple aircraft, multiple snipers, whatever, with just
I remember
huge,
that.
huge open fields. It's some of the worst ones, like the sand map. Whenever the game was first released, like I know that they've updated a couple times, kind of added a little things here and there to try to give you some cover. But in general, the maps are just so obnoxiously large and open that you'll die. Like you run for like 2 to 5 minutes straight trying to get to where you're going, and then get sniped, and then have to start that run all over again. That's
Not only that,
Battlefield
not
has
only that,
its. Go ahead.
but sorry, not only that, you're absolutely spot on. There was huge maps with no cover, right?
Right.
So now they've implemented a lot of cover and stuff like that. But they went from 64 players to 128, I think it was, and it
Yeah.
was just carnage. It was insane. Like you said, you would go into these maps. I remember one of them, Kaleidoscope, which was like it had zero cover, and it had stuff just every like you had.
Yeah,
It was a farming fest for vehicle players. You would spawn die. These jets, LEVs, tanks, and everything like that. They would just be absolutely tearing you up. As an infantry player, you had no cover.
exactly.
But now it's been improved massively. What I will say is what I've heard the new Battlefield that's supposed to be coming out next year. I don't think they're doing 1 to 8. I think they're doing 64 player maps, which is the ideal number because, like you said, the what was it? More is more, or something like that. You said along the lines.
Less is
It
more
was
at times.
less is more.
Yeah,
Yeah, less is more. I was just like, no, don't do that. It's because it was just carnage. I liked the maps, the BF3 or BF4 maps that were either 32 players or less, where you could actually, you could think and strategize instead of just getting flung in, and it's like before you know it, you're dead and you're having to respawn somewhere. When you've spawned, you die again. But it's in a better state now. 2142, I'm talking about. It's in a better state now. Not perfect, but it's in a lot better state than it was when it first released. But I agree 100% what you were saying, Raw. Like it was just there was nothing on these maps. The cover was non-existent as for an infantry player. You know what I mean?
yeah.
There was zero stuff to be. Just wasn't enjoyable, and it was just spawn die, spawn die, spawn die.
Uh, I did not check out. I mean, I've seen Black Ops 6 Sentinel, asking if I have checked out Black Ops 6. I've not really done too much research. I've been watching Slayer, longtime supporter of the channel. He's been streaming it lately. I've been checking his stuff out. The game look like we were saying, it's just more of the same. Now you got the Omni movement mechanics, so you got people doing dolphin dives around corners and doing a like 180 midair to shoot you if you're around the edge, like whatever. I'm not huge into that. The zombies looks okay. It looks like they're kind of going back true to form how zombies used to be with some like newer mechanics implemented as well. But I have no interest in it anymore, man. It could be age. Like honestly, I could have just lost interest because of how long I was on the series, and it really is just the same thing over and over.
So when I
Um,
seen it, it was like you said, the dolphin. It was like watching Max Payne. People just diving back
bro,
onto their
yeah,
backs.
yeah. Max
Wasn't
Payne
it?
with like no slow time. It feels like you're
Yeah,
the NPCs in Max Payne.
just diving around on your back or hiding like on your back in corners with like a SMG just waiting. Yeah, it was just kind of it was all the same for me. It was all sort of samey stuff, and I know they introduced Omni movement, but I need more. I need more than that, and
Yeah, for
I need a
sure.
game there where I said, like I said, with touching on the Battlefield thing again. But I want a game that's more team based or team orientated, where you're helping each other and you're actually striving to achieve a goal at the end of it, and feel like it gives you that sense of achievement at the end of it, where you've worked as a team, you've gained the objective, or you win the round, and that's the sort of stuff I was looking for.
Well, moving on to a game with some positive gaming news. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Everyone at this channel knows how damn excited I am for it. I don't care. I'm gonna leave that one in there. I am super excited for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm pretty sure everyone in here for the most part is. Great news with that. They will not be including de novo DRM or any DRM at all. Uh, they, that's sensational news. Like honestly, they deserve a round of applause just for including that. If you're not familiar with it, De Novo, it's a pretty intrusive DRM. It's a anti-piracy measure that many modern games implement. Like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there's multiple games coming out now that use De Novo to kind of keep pirates not away, but slow down the process of a game getting pirated. Um, it's funny because Warhorse Studio actually put out a bunch of messages. They more or less got upset because major Kingdom Come YouTubers and there was just rumors going around getting all types of coverage that they were going to be including the Nuvo. And Warhorse came out and was like, yo, shut this down now. I don't know where this came from. We never said any of that. And we are not including any DRM. So big ups to them on that one. Um, I mean, there's not really anything to add to that. I don't think Blue. I consider that a
Nah,
win for us. The thing, oh, excuse me, the main reason that it's a good thing they're not including Denuvo or any type of DRM. Denuvo has recently been kind of making rounds on the internet right now too, coming out saying that they can't believe people don't like them, that the PC community is predominantly made of like pirates and whatnot because people are happy to see that Denuvo's not included in games. But the main reason we're included, if you guys go do some research, Denuvo has been found to decrease the performance in a lot of major titles. And what ends up happening is when a game does get cracked, it gets pirated, people play the pirated version alongside the non-pirated, and you could see huge like night and day differences in the worst case scenarios. Of course, sometimes it's only like a couple frames difference, which isn't too big of a deal, but the fact that it hinders performance whatsoever and it's just invasive and has to get down to like levels, you have to you have to give this software access to like levels of your PC that are kind of sketchy to deal with, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very familiar with it, but it sounds like it's good that the actual devs or the company itself have come out and went, well, squash this rubbish straight away. At least like they're communicating with the Kingdom Come audience, and yeah, so I think that's definitely a win in that term.
Patty said, give us a boxed in map size with Arma style warfare. That sounds crazy. If Call of Duty went that direction, I feel like it would lose a heck of a lot of its player base because that arcade nonsense is what Call of Duty really is. You're talking about a completely different game at this point, Patty.
I like the armor games though. The armor games were fun. I've got
Right.
Armor 3, and some of the mods for that game were great. But I totally, it's not, yeah, totally different types of game, isn't it? It's like you say, Raw. It's not arcade at all. It's more
Yeah.
that is definitely one for teamwork and stuff like that. But it's much more slower paced, and that is that element of realism where one bullet can take you right out.
Yeah. Talking about running across a map in Battlefield and getting sniped. That's the one that you'll get sniped and nowhere in the team would have any idea where that shot just came from.
Just reminds me of DayZ, like playing that, spending so
Right.
much time running around getting all your gear, and then there's somebody in a bush, and then it's like bang,
That's
dead.
why I
See you
quit
later.
playing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
There wasn't
Um,
one guy in a bush. There was gangs of people. There was gangs of bandits that teamed up, and they
oh,
would
he was
rob you.
saying, sorry, he was saying more Battlefield instead of Call of Duty. So Battlefield going more of an armor style warfare. I could see it working more with the Battlefield for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Battlefield's a little arcadey. I mean, it's not like it's not directly comparable to Arma. It's got that kind of mix of somewhat arcade movement, shooting mechanics, but still having the tactical elements. I could see that
Yeah.
working though. It would definitely cause some division in the player base that it currently has, but I think it would bring more people in as well.
There were specific servers on some of the Battlefield games, like Battlefield 4, that did make it more realistic. So there
Hmm.
was like options to set up more hardcore servers where one shot did kill you or whatever, or the damage you took was more significant and things like that to encourage the sort of armor style of gameplay. But that was good. I mean, that gave you the option if you wanted to like jump into the sort of more arcadey element or the more strategic one. The option was there because people were more creative, and that was one of the like major things that annoyed me was the fact that the server browser was sort of taken out, and a lot of the custom servers that were created by the community were just not there from Battlefield 1, 2, and I think even 2142. They introduced portal mode in 2142, but
Yeah.
that was a big letdown as well. I expected so much more with that, like the possibilities with that, creating your own servers, creating a map with the map rules and stuff like that. And there was some like half decent ones in portal mode on 2142, but not to the extent of like Battlefield 4, where there was you had like actual moderators online at the time, and that was quite that could be a positive and a negative because you get these mods that ran the servers great, but then you had these bitter mods that were negative, and if you were on a killing streak, they would just ban you straight away. Do you know what I mean? They would just do it out of spite, which was really, really frustrating. So finding that fine balance was always the one on a Battlefield server, I guess.
Another game with some really fine balance. You want to talk some Stalker too?
Oh yes, right. So I watched the newest official Stalker trailer,
I'm
and
gonna pull this
wow.
up in the background while you talk about that.
Okay, doc, right. So we're gonna break it down a little bit. So from what I've seen in the trailer, kind of talk about my initial thoughts on the intro itself and the atmosphere. So right off the bat, I mean, the trailer delivered a heavy and gritty atmosphere, as you would expect from a Stalker game or a Stalker game in the series. The fans will instantly recognise this sort of theme. It's dark, tense, and it's visually striking, kind of almost haunting, with abandoned structures and a blend of like nature retaking control of decayed buildings and stuff like that. This is set in the zone, as we've discussed in previous podcasts. Like if you're not aware of the Stalker series, but the zone's a radiated paranormal area within Chernobyl, where strange phenomena occur due to the unexplained like second disaster. But the key visual takeaway from it, like the attention to detail, the environments and stuff like that, the light and the shadow, the rusted structures and eerie fog, it's all superb. But it looked great. And it looks like the devs at GSC Games World are really leaning into the modern graphics tech to bring the atmosphere to life. Just like going from like previous Stalker games. I know obviously some of the previous ones are really outdated and stuff now, but it's great that they've kind of went by a heavy dose of realism mixed with like an eerie sci-fi sort of into it, but with the modern graphics. And it's just like the zone itself and the dangers. From what I've seen in that trailer, it looks wild, unpredictable, and like incredibly hostile. Like you've got what you expect, the radiation pockets, anomalies, and the mutants that populate the world. We get a glimpse of a few of the mutants in the trailer, including bloodsuckers and snorks, like their fan favourites for their sort of terrifying designs. And yeah, they annoyed me in the the previous games. Like they were really annoying. But there's also like the anomaly effect shown with the objects swirling midair, as if suspended by the unseen force. But the zone itself, some predictability is one of the series staples, I think. Going from the trailer again, the anomalies design look impressive here, with like dynamic visuals suggesting that they've been even deadlier and more intricate than before. The trailer like emphasizes that the zone is constantly evolving, which is great to see. It looks like survival will demand more tactical planning and thought, and perhaps more specialized gear as well. We got a tiny little glimpse into the stories and the factions as well. So in that trailer, it's like a hunting voiceover. It seems to like allude to the protagonist's internal struggle. We all know that the protagonist is a stalker, so he's one that like explores his own, looking for artifacts, knowledge, or just simply trying to survive. But here it sounds like the protagonist will be kind of torn between their mission and the psychological toll of the zone itself. So that's really interesting, the psychological aspect of that. I'd like to see how that pans out. So you see that in the trailer. And it's also got, I noticed some factions as well that the player will encounter. Two that I noted were Duty and Freedom, who have their own sort of distinct philosophies on how to deal with the zone's mysteries. So they've got their own sort of narratives there to see how and agendas to how to control the zone. Duty sees it as a menace to contain. The Freedom guys want to harness its power, so you could already see there's going to be like conflict and stuff between the two factions, and you getting involved in that. And I'm guessing that some of the decisions you make will impact that. But these factions are confirmed to play a role as Stalker 2, meaning players will likely face, like I said, the moral complex choices and align with a certain faction, which I love. It's like a la Fallout kind of thing, isn't it? Getting the old faction, getting your sort of favourite faction and doing stuff for them. I was always kind of like, I went through them all in terms of Fallout 4. I went through like the Railroad Brotherhood, all the good stuff. The Minutemen. You just want to see what all these different sort of factions and the outcomes would be. But the main thing I want to talk about, right, from that trailer, is the weapons, the gear, and the survival mechanics, because that was the big thing for me. I was wanting to see what the gunplay was like. So the trailer doesn't hold back on showcasing the new and improved weapon mechanics. We see a variety of firearms, excuse me, each with a strong, authentic look, which I'm really, really happy with. I like the authentic weapons and the reload animations, the gun recoil, and the sound design look and sound really punchy and grounded with realism. That's a massive win for me. I love the immersion, the sort of punchy, lips out gun feel. You know what I mean? When you're firing a gun, you want it to be punchy and doing your thing. But it seems like that Stalker 2. I mean, that being said, it's more than just a shooter. Of course, it's a survival game at its core, and players will have to keep an eye on radiation, hunger, stamina, and even mental health. Apparently, that's something that's going to be in there. I don't know how that's going to work, but
yeah, that's gonna be a mix up for sure.
Yeah, and the trailer like sort of hints at the resource scarcity, and they need to scavenge and craft and trade with others to survive. So like, I think I remember seeing like brief shots of the inventory and management suggesting there's going to be a bit of balance, a strategy, and it's kind of reminded me your Frost playthrough, Raw, where you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're having to be very resourceful and get what you can, and like you're going to have to scavenge for ammo. But there was a little cool thing that I noticed during the trailer, but in terms of the weapons and gear, it was like I saw your character loot loot a raider or whatever you want to call them, one of the scavengers, and he picked up a scope from the raider, and he instantly just stuck it on his rifle. There was no, what do you call it, workbench or that involved. He just literally picked it off the dead body and stuck it on his rifle and started using it immediately. I love that. I mean, I was like, yes, there's no messing around here. I know I do like the gun crafting element, a la Fallout 4 and all that sort of stuff. But I just like that, you've got a functioning scope. If you know how to use it, you'll stick it on and start using it if you've got the correct gun. I
bro.
really, I really like that sort of that attention to detail. Sorry, go ahead, mate.
More than just the scope, he picked up a underbarrel shotgun and threw it on a sniper
Yeah,
real time and started using it. That was crazy.
yeah,
Oh
man.
my
I like,
god,
I
I
lo-
need it.
yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, I love that. I'll just before we start, I'll turn to you on a second and ask you your opinions on it. But I'll just leave you. I'll leave my final thoughts on what I thought of the trailer itself. So, with Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, I'm thinking GSC Games World is clearly trying to deliver a deeply immersive and atmospheric survival horror experience. The trailer for me, and this is me from a personal note, does a fantastic job. It's setting the tone and and teasing the core gameplay mechanics, like I said, the gunplay and stuff like that, without giving away too much. There's like little glimpses in there where what things that you can expect. But this is a game that kind of feels like it will stay true to its roots while also taking advantage of the modern tech, like I said, the graphics and stuff to push new boundaries. But for me, for fans, the wait has been long enough, and the trailer for me promises something worth it. It looks like a brutally like authentic, psychological, intense journey through one of the game's most like famous wastelands, and I'm super
Right.
hyped for this.
Oh,
I'm
I
I'm
am
really
too,
really
bro.
yeah, so what, 20th of November, 20th of this month, I will
Yeah.
be buying that 100%. But yeah, Ross, sorry, there was my sort of breakdown of the trailer itself. Have you got anything to add, or you want to pick up on anything that I talked about in terms of like I started off with like the atmosphere, the zone itself, story, factions, visual realism, the gunplay, and yeah, have you got anything that really stuck out from what I just said there?
We actually got a few things. We've had some conversation going on in chat on the live stream.
Yeah,
Sentinel, we'll continue on Call of Duty probably during the Frost playthrough after this stream is over. I think we're gonna go ahead and just move on from Call of Duty, but we will get to that. Patty, Patty was asking, would you rather spend a month at Fallout 3's Wasteland or Stalker's The Zone? Personally, Fallout 3's Wasteland. It is so much
oh
easier to survive in Fallout 3's Wasteland. The anomalies of Stalker, there's nothing comparable in Fallout, at least in my eyes. Like the I know Blue, you're much more versed in Stalker. I have,
yeah.
of course, crazy background with Fallout, but what would you say?
Oh, if it was in terms of like survivability, Fallout
Yeah,
Freeze all day, because
yeah,
because
yeah.
the zone is unforgiving, man. It is really like the I'm going to use an example. So Fallout 3, I can't remember. Did we have rad storms in Fallout 3, or were they introduced into Fallout 4?
That
I
was
can't remember.
Fallout 4. It
Right.
was, yeah,
So Fallout 3 didn't have them, right? I'm gonna go with that. But Stalker did have environmental changes and stuff like that. And if you were caught out in the open in the zone, and all these like anomalies and environmental storms happened, you were screwed. Like I mean, you were stuck in a building for ages. It's particularly if you were injured and stuff. But from a personal, I forget. Like, see the zone. It was that big that you didn't really know where you were going at times, and
yeah,
it was so like you were scrapping for ammo and weapons and stuff like that. And if you took a wrong turn, like if you bumped into a bunch of raiders or something like that, or another stalker, you were screwed unless you were tooled up, and they can take you down quickly. Whereas from a personal note, I know Fallout 3's map inside out. I was like,
Right.
I know exactly where to go. I know right at the start. Do you remember? I remember playing my like my third or fourth playthrough of Fallout 3, and my go-to place was there was a little rock, an invisible rock at the right-hand side of Megaton, which
Yeah.
like contained a
Yeah.
sniper rifle.
Right at
It
the
was like a
beginning of the
little,
game, the thing's almost
yeah, yeah,
broken when you find it, but that can give you a nice little head start.
yeah, like that. Those are the sort of things I would do. I'll get. I know where to go for armor and stuff like that. Stalker,
Right.
the zone is nothing like that. It's like you would go, you would have, you would be places where you would get armor and stuff like that, but you would have to earn it like massively through crafting or just like scavenging itself and all that. But definitely for me, to answer your question, Patty, it'd be Fallout 3's because Shadow of Chernobyl was like it was excuse me, it was tough, really really tough that environment. But I liked that in a way because you were always on your toes. Fallout 3, you get to a certain area, Megaton or whatever, recoup your stock. You could heal yourself and all that. Whereas if you had an injury in the zone, you were in trouble. Like trying to find bandages and stuff like that, you just didn't know where to go. Whereas you had all the little your standard Bethesda go-to markers and all that. Whereas Stalker was more hardcore. So yeah, there's your answer. I would say for survivability, Fallout 3's Wasteland definitely. But if you want a challenge, it's the zone, and I'm looking for that challenge in the new Stalker. That's what I want. I want to be on my
Yeah.
toes.
I mean, from what we're seeing right now on screen, I pulled up another trailer. The gameplay looks gritty. The weapons look weighty. Like the movement, the combat, everything. It's not any crazy fast paced. This is what I'm trying to mod Fallout 4 into right now, more or less. They're they're giving us exactly what I've been wanting. Sentinel, I have not heard of the Fallout 3 Mothership Zeta crew mod. No, I've not heard of that one. Patty was also asking, this is more a question for you, Blue. I'm not well versed enough with the Stalker universe, but this one, here's a question. Which faction from Stalker is either of your guys' favorite?
Oh God, I didn't align myself with a faction. I was always solo.
Got you.
I just went myself. I was the nomad or whatever you want to call it. I was always just like myself, the scavenger, and I would just you know I would essentially be a stalker stroke raider. I would just kill everybody
Right.
on sight and steal their gear. I was out for
That's how you
myself, man. That
survive
was
in
me.
Stalker's Wasteland, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like my interactions would be with traders and stuff like that. I knew where certain traders were, and I'd go about. I would like target the soldiers as well because they had the better gear. That was my
Right.
like. I was total Mad Max, if you know what I mean. I was just a lone survivor. I wasn't like I would deal with people if I had to, but it was
Yeah.
always like shoot to kill first, questions later, or like that was my that was my playthrough in Stalker. I'm going to be doing that again. I'm going to be like a sort of solo raider. That's what I'm going to play it. So yeah, there's your answer. No to factions.
Right.
It's all about me.
There's a chance I'm probably gonna end up going that same route. That's kind of what my playthrough of not Gamma. I actually started playing what part of Call of is it which one's the Pripyat one?
Shadow of Chernobyl.
No, that's the brand new one. That's the one that's coming out.
No,
No,
that's Heart of
Heart of
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. Oh, okay, yeah. Shadow of Chernobyl. That's I believe that's the one that I started playing. I got like I don't know, maybe 6 hours into it. I did put a little time into that relatively recently.
Yeah.
It was more so like you were saying, you start off with like nothing in that game. You really got to grind for everything that you have. Um, I ended up dying really early on, and I went back and started kind of figuring out how the game actually works because that is one game that does not hold your hand in any aspect. Like those of you that are not familiar with Stalker, I hope that they keep that same aspect with the new one because that game you got to spend time and resources to really figure stuff out. Once you start getting the hang of it, it kind of changes how you play the game. It, well, at least how I played the game. And at first, I was getting destroyed by everything. Like I ran into one of the feral dogs and just got absolutely wrecked. Um,
I've just pulled up because I was just trying to remind myself of all the factions, but yeah, the majority of the factions in Stalker, like the military, and I'm talking about Shadow of Chernobyl here, but
Right.
the military were like the strongest one. They had control of the zone and stuff like that. So I always targeted them. They always have the best weapons, but it was
Right.
always a risk. It was always a risk trying to get the stuff off them. But there was like the bandits. There was the duty of freedom. Loners, stalkers, neutral stalkers, mercenaries, ecologists, the monolith, clear sky, and renegades. But that's all. I mean, I've not played that in ages. And that's a blast of the past. That's bringing back a few memories. But I
Right.
still stick by what I said. I was more the sort of the mercenary. You know what I mean? I was more the lone wanderer trying to get all my stuff. But yeah, the military factions I would always target.
Got you. Yeah, Patty, I guess we'll kind of see as this Stalker 2 releases and as we kind of make our way through there. I did buy the like super mega deluxe, whatever you want to call that bundle. I don't know what they're calling it. After the last stream, last time we were talking about Stalker 2 and then the whole documentary that came out with them, I supported them as much as I could, you know. I'm super excited for the game as well. Um,
Yeah, that documentary is incredible, man. It's like a really, really good watch. Just put things into perspective, doesn't it?
for sure. It's crazy, bro. Uh, okay, we got to get this show on the road.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's already been 45 minutes. So Valve just made a huge update to Steam. This is some great news. Steam has a new implemented game recording software of its own. That's awesome. The main reason that I'm excited for this, on the side, you guys know that I do PC flipping, and I'm actually putting out a video later today about one of the latest little endeavors with that. We're trying to record for that footage, trying to stream Counter-Strike 2 multiple times. You guys have seen firsthand, Counter-Strike does not like overlays whatsoever. It does not like third-party software running at the same time the game is running. Valve has implemented some crazy anti-cheat features with that game, and just having MSI Afterburner up on screen to where you guys can see the stats of like what FPS I'm getting, what my CPU temperature is running at, all that kind of stuff, that is enough to kick you out. Running OBS in the background, if you're switching tabs between OBS and Counter-Strike and it detects that it's being recorded, that is enough to kick you out of the game. So with Valve implementing their own way of recording this and showcasing Counter-Strike 2 as their like gameplay footage showing how this whole thing works, I think that's awesome. I think it's a little overdue in all honesty.
I just replied to Paul in the chat. He's asking if I play Stalker. Will I see Daily again? The answer to that is no.
Yeah, there's a good chance we're all going to be stuck right here. Exactly where you're at right now. This is going to be us for the next several months.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really too much to cover with that. It's just, that's awesome news from Valve. Unfortunately, this kind of concludes the positives of what's going on right now. There's a couple of trends that have been carried out through the industry that are ongoing. Unfortunately, we got some more layoffs. We got some more places shutting down, and this time it actually comes from Netflix. Days after shutting its AAA game studio filled with former God of War and Overwatch talent, Netflix announces a new initiative powered by AI. God, I hate this, man. AI is a blessing and a curse in so many aspects. Like, we've went over this so many times already. To sum it up, AI cannot replace what people do with games. You can replace some aspects, you can make some things just random generated, but story cannot just be AI based. They don't have the emotion, they don't have the passion that people have, you know? And uh, go ahead, Blue. What do you got to say about this one?
I don't know, man. I mean, like AI just seems like for me it's a lazy alternative. I think it'll be like it'll take out a lot of creativity and it'll take out a lot of passion from people creating games. Is this I mean, does that make sense for what I'm saying just now? I just don't
100%.
think
Yeah.
I just don't think you know, artists these days, writers and stuff like that, they will just go to AI and you know, I don't know, like just chat GPT and things like that. They'll go into things like that and just ask it to create themselves a story or, you know, create some sort of visual representation, some art representation, and it'll be half-assed, it'll be half-baked, and I don't think it'll be a true reflection of their creative capabilities, and I think that'll gradually progress to other creators, and you'll see a lack of polished product, if you know what I mean. I think that's
Yeah, for
what will
sure.
happen. That's my my take on it, because I already see it. If someone wants to create something, and it's probably human nature, you're going to have to you want to do it the easiest way possible.
Right.
But at the same time, it'll lack that dynamism. It'll lack that, authenticity, and I think it'll just be a slow decline in terms of the quality of gaming, art, and I'll probably go down the route of movies, all sorts of stuff. Anything sort of creative in the sort of the art genre will be affected. Music, especially, as well. I mean, look how easy I made that little jingle for what was it, the tacticians. Do you remember that? All I had to do for that was go into a website at AI. Do you remember that? Yeah.
Bro,
So
yes, what the hell?
I created that, but all I did was go into an AI generator and type in a few words, and that created that whole song. That just goes to show you how easy it is for like your average Joe like me to just go and create something like that. And now, don't get me wrong, I think more creative people will be more more creative people will add more polish to things like that. But at the end of the day, it just goes to show how easy it is for your average Joe to create something that isn't like spectacular, but the advancement of AI will continuously improve, and I think you'll see a lot of creativity and passion dwindle in all aspects of life, and in terms of the entertainment industry. That's my take on it. I mean, does that make sense? Was I rambling a bit, or I think I kind of made sense with what I was saying there?
No, it makes sense, bro. That's what I was touching on too. Like the AI can only do so much. To me, it's more of it's a tool, it's a resource. It's not, you can't replace people. It can help. Like it, as an example, like perfect timing on this actually. I was posting up stuff in the Discord, having you guys vote on the most unique families in Fallout 4 and trying to like skip ahead a little bit, make this a little bit easier on myself. I went
Oh,
into
not this
Chat
again! Not this
GPT.
again!
What?
Yeah, the Fallout families. It was ever changing. It was ever changing during that stream. It was like, oh no, not that family. We can't do that family.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, bro. That we're not going on there. That was a whole mess. I wasn't expecting there to be that many families in Fallout 4. But
yeah,
I
that was
input
crazy.
into Chat GPT, like, give me a list of like 30 families from Fallout 4. And I had to revise the script for that, like just for it to name actual families like I was looking for. Because it started going off on tangents like calling all of Diamond City a family, calling all of Good Neighbor a family, calling you see what I'm saying? Like individual
Yeah,
settlements,
yeah,
calling them all family, even though they have no relation. And when I finally got to understand what I was looking for with family, I then had to revise it even more. And even if you go look at the script right now, like what it actually gave out as a prompt, or not as a prompt, but the script that it gave out is still it's trash, honestly. Some of the information on it's wrong. Some of the stuff that makes these unique families actually interesting and gives them the unique characters, it's missing huge plot points with them. It's missing any type of like passion behind what it's talking about because it's just an AI. It's feeding off of us basically. Yeah, I
yeah.
hate this whole
It's feeding off.
implementation.
Yeah, it feeds off information that. Well, I mean, how it works. Like, I mean, to my understanding, how it works is like it feeds off other websites and other information. Like for example, like when like you typed in families, it would be going off like wikis and things like that, and
Right,
all that. A lot of that information might not be 100% accurate. Whereas, you likes me and you that have played the game and felt the sort of, I don't know, emotional connections with some of the families and things like that, and things that you wouldn't necessarily, other people wouldn't necessarily pick up. That makes it more unique, like your own experience of finding these families, delving deep into the stories of these families. It makes it more unique, and I think, yeah, AI is good as a foundation, or like, yeah, that's probably the best way of putting it, isn't it? Like a foundation, and then you can sort of expand on it. It's like a template where you want to um get some research on a given subject, but then you have to expand on it with your own sort of know-how and your own experience of playing a game. That's what I take from that. So
Yeah,
it's not obviously AI is not going to be 100% accurate. It's good. It gives you a baseline and a foundation
exactly.
for research and stuff like that. But a lot of intricacies, a lot of sort of nuances, and also a lot of emotional elements will be missed from your own personal experience of playing the games. God, I'm tired of making sense. Jesus, I must have had too much
Yeah.
coffee.
Exactly like you. I mean, we're all on the same page. Patty was also saying AI should be an assistant, not a core component in developing anything, and especially in the games industry, especially any type of medium that's here to entertain people and make us feel a connection because it detracts from that connection.
Yeah,
Uh,
100%.
another another I don't know. It's a trend in the industry right now. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered fails to impress. It falls behind original and concurrent player count. Did this game need a remake? Did The Last of Us Part 1 need a remake? Did the games that are coming out within the past 5 years for next gen consoles, did they already need remakes? Like, come on, man. They're pushing all this stuff. And actually, I didn't even have this on the script to talk about today, but the PlayStation 5 is a perfect example. Why are you remaking these games and making them more graphically intensive? And some of these, like Horizon Zero Dawn, if you look side by side, there's so many images where it's just so incredibly hard to tell what was the original release and what's the quote unquote remaster of it. Because it's such marginal, tiny little quote unquote improvements that were completely unnecessary. All the funds and resources that went into slightly better graphics for an already amazing looking game could have been, used for new game development. Um, Used to put an online feature in Red Dead Redemption. Um, could have been used for anything. We don't need this. I hate this trend so much. I understand some games do actually need remasters, but at this point, some of this is just ridiculous. It's them milking these games for as much as they can, and I guarantee 90% of the work that went into the quote unquote remaster, the graphical fidelity of this game was AI generated. I can almost guarantee that they put as little resource into this as possible for the most amount of financial profit.
It's funny. It's funny you should say that because when I hear like remaster or re-release or something like that,
Hmm.
I instantly just think because I've kind of lost faith in it. I've lost faith in it because my instant thought is the next gen update for Fallout 4. And I was
Yeah,
just like, do you know what
yeah,
I mean? I was just like so underwhelmed.
garbage.
Well, I didn't even do it. I didn't do it because I'd heard about it and the stuff that they implemented. I was expecting like a graphics overhaul to make it better. I was expecting stuff like weapon debris not crashing your game,
Yeah,
things like that. You know what I mean? But it was
yeah,
still all in there, and I was just like the most underwhelming thing. But what I will say on this, and it's probably the last thing I'll say, is when I do see the words remaster, I'll have a look at who's doing it. I'll have a look at if it's like a modding community, then I'll be interested because you're not guaranteed, but you're like, oh, these guys will be a passionate development team or whatever, and they'll be putting their heart and soul into it to enhance whatever they're remastering and stuff. A la Fallout London. I could go back and talk about that. However,
right.
I won't. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. Is like if I see, oh, Bethesda are coming out with a remaster, I'll be like, I'll be skeptical. I'll be like, oh, here we go. What are they actually going to remaster? Or they're bringing out, some sort of DLC or whatever to enhance it. I'm like, I would rather have faith. What I'm trying to say is, I have faith in like external modding teams than like the actual AAA gaming industry or companies themselves. I mean, that's the kind of way I look at it. So whenever I see remaster, like see the Battlefield 4 when I was like, that's interesting because
Right.
that's fans, isn't it? That's a fan made. It's gonna be a fan made remaster with tweaks and stuff like that. So I'd be generally interested to see how that turns out, and how they improve it. Again, going on to stuff like Sky Oblivion,
Oh my God,
I've
yes.
I've already seen the sort of stuff they're going to be pushing out through various YouTube's videos and stuff like that I've been following, and it all depends on who's doing it. In my opinion, when I see a remaster, like I said, I go, hang on a minute, I'll question this. But if I see it from like I said, a modern team or an external source, I'll be like, oh, interesting, because they've obviously got a vested interest in it, and a sort of purpose to push out a polished product. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's a great one, Paul. I'm not gonna repeat that, but you should definitely check out Paul's latest comment.
I've just seen it.
Yeah.
The Fallout 4 update should be code named with yeah.
That is awesome.
It was just the worst, wasn't it?
I mean, like Patty's been uploading pictures from the Fallout New Vegas remake and Fallout 4's engine. That looks incredible. I would not ever, ever want to dream of Bethesda trying to release that. You know what I'm saying? Like, dear God, leave it alone,
Yeah, I
please.
know.
But I know without a doubt it wouldn't look that good. It would not be anywhere near as spectacular as that thing is. And I hope to God we get to see that release one day. It's sad when
I've just seen it.
remasters either should cross-platform post or AI upscale textures, only 1K resolution. Silent Hill 2 was a good remaster. Silent Hill 2 was a complete remake from the ground up, wasn't it? Like they
Yeah,
completely redid movement mechanics, like the way the camera works, the way everything. That was a complete remake.
I am still so close to buying that because I've seen it and it is from what all accounts I've seen is a very good whatever you want to call it, a remake or remaster, but it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and the stuff that I've seen, your old friend G-Man, G-Man
Yeah.
Lives, he reviewed it, and I rate his opinion highly, and he loved it. He was waxing lyrical about it, but that just reminded me Patty's comment about the Silent Hill 2 stuff, the remakes and remasters, like the stuff we talked about this in the previous one, Resident Evil 2 remake, excellent.
Right.
So good, really, really good. Took everything from the original and made it better. It did make it better. It was worth actually shelling out the money for it. Resident Evil 4 as well. Obviously, I never played the original on PlayStation, but seeing you play it and seeing the jump from what they did with that was another one that's incredible. It's like that's really, really, really polished, and just you can see they've enhanced so many aspects of it in terms of, well, the most notable being the graphics and stuff, but then there's the gunplay and the mechanics and stuff like that. That's the sort of stuff I'm looking for. You know, a decent overhaul of the game that keeps the game, you know, healthy and what it was, but also enhances on things like I don't know, weapons handling, the graphics itself, making the game less clunky, you know, more of a smooth experience. Those are the things that I want to see, and expanding on little story elements as well. That's the sort of stuff I want to see when it comes to remasters and remakes. But yeah, that's a good shout, Patty. I'm 50-50 on whether it's all to do with money, like, but I'm so close to buying Silent Hill 2 because it actually looks ace. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, from what I've seen on it too. When on the same vein of like the remakes, remasters, and all that stuff, then okay, so just to clarify, to give a clean cut understanding of all this, remake is when gameplay mechanics and visuals get completely done from the ground up or a huge overhaul. That is a remake. A
Yeah.
remaster is when it's really just graphics. Like that's it. They make the game look prettier, but it is still gonna feel and play exactly like it used to. Then
I've,
you got these companies that are making billions of dollars, billions of dollars a year, and you get something like the Red Dead re-release, like, or the Red Dead port to PC. Like, bro, what is that?
I know,
I know we
I've
touched on
got
this last week when it was more relevant, but what the hell is that, man? They did nothing with it. No graphical improvements, no gameplay improvements. They took out the online mechanic. Like, what is the point in this?
I've got a question actually, and this is for yourself, Raw, and chat as well, and it's pertinent to what we're talking about, right? So let's just put this in context as well. I bought the Last of Us remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, right? But
Mhm.
I'd never played the Last of Us. So, what would you class that as? Would you class that as a remake or a remaster? Because have any using chat or yourself, Raw, played both?
I
Because
haven't,
I
I haven't, bro. I played the crap out of the original one. I loved it. I played it on PlayStation 3. I got it again and played it on PlayStation 4, but I have not touched the like, the latest generation of it. The Last of Us Part 1. I haven't touched that version.
right. So I mean, first of all, I'll get out there. It was, for me, I think I've already talked about this on streaming that, but it was fantastic. Oh my god, one of the best story, one of the best games I probably have
Yeah,
ever played. I loved it. It was
without
a
a
game
doubt.
made for, yeah, a game was made for the likes of me, like, 'cause
Right.
obviously being a zombie buff and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the experience I had for that, it was polished. It was good. Like, it was, I would expect it. You know, a game that was released such a long time ago, and for it to be remastered or remade, I had a next gen gaming experience, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It wasn't clunky and stuff like that. Or I would expect, if it was released, you know, if this game was released and was remastered, it was just released today, I would have no gripes. You know, it was a game that
Right.
was good. There was nothing that really stuck out, and it was like you could tell it was like made a long time ago. It had like a lot of features that you would expect in games nowadays. So I mean, that's a question actually. 'Cause I'm tempted to go back and try and play The Last of Us on a PlayStation or whatever to see what it was actually like. Because yeah, I would like to get that question answered myself. Like,
It's
not
not
only
gonna
from,
be as pretty, but I
yeah,
mean,
no,
for
definitely
what
not.
it was for a PlayStation 3 game, that game was still gorgeous. Like, it holds up surprisingly well from the original. Of course, it's not gonna compare to playing the game 4K, like anti-aliasing, all the upscaling features, ray tracing. Like, I know you have a relatively high-end system, like uh
Yeah,
we're not gonna get that type of experience out the first one, but it's still gonna look good. And PlayStation 3
I was.
was like almost the pinnacle, you know, like that's where the whole evolution in graphics really took place. And since then, it's been just marginal improvements. Uh,
I'm quite thankful. I'm actually quite thankful that I did play this one. You know, I didn't have
yeah.
you know, I had the experience of the next gen one or whatever you want to call it. Because a lot of people were jealous. They were like, "Oh, I would love to, you know,
Oh,
experience that for the first time." But
I was
yeah,
for sure.
it's great. It makes me want to go back because I've still got stuff to do on that. I mean, I finished the game, but there's the DLC, and there's also like the achievements you get at the end of the game, like the infinite ammo stuff and all the different stuff you can
Yeah.
play. So I'm tempted to go back and try that actually.
Uh, do you have anything else you'd like to add? We are a little over an hour in at this point.
I don't think so. I mean, we've covered everything on the what we were going to actually cover on the itinerary. I'm just having a little scroll through.
One real
But yeah,
quick thing right here at the end. If you
is that the
guys have not
Fallout
seen
guns?
this, yeah, the Fallout guns. Shout out to
Yeah.
this guy. Like, what you're seeing up on screen right now, somebody posted this on Reddit. They found this. Here, let me find it exactly. Fallout fans stumbled on a set of impressive weapon replicas from the game at a local shop. On Reddit, longtime running posted an image of 4 pistols from Fallout 3 and 4 that have been recreated in real life. Um, I mean, hopefully you guys can see that clear enough on stream. They're like $30 to $50 a piece. I think whatever shop he found those at. From my understanding, this was actually like some. It wasn't a game related shop. It was like a thrift store type thing, kind of like a Goodwill, something like that. I
No
mean,
way.
honestly, I would have lost my mind if I found something like that. The fact that Fallout has grown in popularity to the point that you can go out to stores and find somebody throwing away stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. I never thought that I would see the day Fallout became that popular. And it's been a bit of a blessing and a curse, but this gives me hope. Like, I like scrounging around thrift stores. I like going to the pawn shops and stuff. You know, I found some crazy deals. You guys have seen the collection behind me. You already know I don't pay top dollar for any of that stuff, but that is crazy.
If I went into a thrift shop or whatever you want to call it and saw a Gatling laser, I would buy it
Oh my
immediately.
god, yeah. Be walking out of there smiling ear to ear.
Yeah, with my Enclave power armor.
Where'd they get the ammo for the alien blaster? Yeah, no idea. I'm gonna have to find out. I'll let you know when I find it, Patty. See, they look really good and look IRL type of blaster. Yeah, yeah. Those things are awesome, though.
Yeah, definitely. If I was in a shop and I saw one of them, I'd buy it. It'd be an instant purchase, definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to conclude today's RawCast. Blue, on one more time. Do you have anything like to say, add to this before we get out of here?
No, I've got nothing to add. I think we've covered everything. Again, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and taking the time to listen to us ramble on about all sorts of stuff. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next one.
No huge major news this week, nothing too controversial, but I did enjoy the conversation with you guys. Of course, like Blue was saying, we are on the last 12 days before Stalker 2 releases, so I'm sure that next week we're going to be having plenty more Stalker news on the run up to that. I'm glad we finally got to beat Cyberpunk. I'm glad that you guys were there for that. Oh my God, bro, we almost forgot. Shout out to TK's Mantis for that raid yesterday. What
Oh
the
yeah,
heck? I had like almost 100 people with us when we finished, or finally, good God, when we finally beat Cyberpunk. My God. Uh, yeah, it is still super early in the morning for me. I woke up like 5 o'clock, got like 4 hours of sleep last night to make today's show happen. So we're gonna call it here. I'm gonna take a brief intermission, and then we will be live with some Fallout Frost action. I hope to see you guys over there. You all stay active, stay healthy, stay hydrated. We will catch you in the next one. Later.
peace.
Live in stereo.